by this chap, William Allen Wall, 1850. So it's New Bedford, Kentucky, in terms of its capital of whaling. And it was because of easy access to markets. It's when the Yankee whalers, neither France nor Britain, recognized the U.S. as a sovereign one. And this is how she decided to do it. And it's essentially a temple to Yankee whaling.
Hey guys, I'll come back.
We just helped the economy.
We did.
Of New Bedford.
We did.
By buying 2 suits at Joseph Booth. They're very nice suits too, matter of fact.
We appreciate that. You
wanna
got
help?
to go out and spread the word. This is,
Well, you know,
I've got a good deal on a suit. Probably as good of a deal anywhere in America right now. Right?
The
This
Bay
is,
in New Bedford,
Yeah.
made in New Bedford
Yeah.
suit.
yeah.
mayors work together. We all have similar problems. We try to share ideas and make sure that our cities work, because it's much more, I've been mayor for 19 years, this guy, what, 2 years?
Not even.
Not
9
even.
months, yeah.
It's a different world out there. They don't, diminishing federal funds, state funds. Now, how do you put it all together? That's the real question. And, you know, I know this mayor here, he understands the finances. So like he always says to me, our finances work, our city works. If finances don't work, just like your business.
Exactly
If
right.
finances don't work,
Yeah.
doesn't happen. That's what's so important to us. I mean, it's,
My volunteer activity in the city is that I chair the Economic Development Council for the mayor.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've got a great Economic Development Council, great leadership from the mayor as well. We've got some great projects going on, and we're really excited about
Yeah.
the next few years,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
We were talking a little bit about them, about offshore
Yeah.
wind in particular.
Offshore wind is going to be a
very
certainly
special.
growth.
Yeah.
growth.
We want to tell, we have the media here, Mayor. We want to talk a little bit about your idea about open air fish markets
Oh,
in
yeah.
Boston. And,
No, the mayor-
couldn't
Sure.
yeah.
I got a man.
Okay. Yeah, Mayor Mitchell invited me down here last January to come on down and look at the city, and
Yeah.
I have been here a long time, and I've seen huge improvements down here. how clean the city, the economic opportunities here, you know, the largest fishing port in the United States. And we have this whole program in Boston, we have farmers markets, we have about 24 of them. And we just started this concept of day boat fishing, where we sell fish at our farmers market. And we have a third of our 24 sell fish. And the mayor and I had a conversation this morning that we're going to work towards next season to have the fish brought up from New Bedford to be sold at our farmers market. The success we've had is, you know, it gets into some of the neighborhoods where we never have this fresh fish. And they sell out every week. And there's lines out there to get the fish. And we all know how nutritious fish is for you. And it's, you know, it's what, 45 miles from the city of Boston. And so the mayor and I are going to work together with our staff to make sure that as we move forward in this issue, that New Bedford is part of the this program, that we have the fresh fish at all our farmers markets in the city of Boston.
So you got to buy a couple of suits, Mayor.
I did. Joseph boot suit, so yeah, sure, I love them. I've had them in the past, but I always wanted to come down here. And one of the attractions, the mayor said, well, we'll go to the boot store.
Absolutely.
And we're here.
Yeah. He's
So-
he's a satisfied customer, obviously.
Well, yeah, I am satisfied. I've, my jacket I have right now is an boot jacket. So, you know, we're here to promote locally, you know.
For the record, you know, as the mayor here, I have to make sure that everybody sees what I'm wearing, which is also Joseph Abood.
But we're putting people to work down here. That's important. You know, jobs are the most important thing we do in our society. And Joseph Abood, other folks, the fishing industry down here, the turbines we're going to have out in the water there,
Yeah.
that's all about jobs. It's about the economy. It's about the future and sustainability issues. And that's what young mayor's been good at in the short time he's been here. And we'll share ideas, and with his Economic Development Council and other staff he has.
So this is kind of an informal partnership you're announcing today, or?
Yeah, informal, yeah. I'm the mayor of Boston. I want to help these mayors out. You know, I've been around for 19 years, and things have changed over the years. And you know, government is not a partner anymore. Government is, you know, we're out there doing our thing, and we have to fight for every penny we get from the federal government and state government. And how do we use those funds more effectively and more efficiently to create jobs? Because jobs are the greatest equalizer, and that's what we have to do.
So just a couple of comments. I'm so pleased that Mayor Menino came down here. You know, we did have this conversation at the U.S. Conference of Mayors about his coming down here. I remember that he was very fond of Filene's basement, especially the deals you could get there. And Filene's isn't with us anymore, and so I figured he would be keen to this opportunity down here, because the Bay is a fantastic asset for our downtown. It's really unique, not just in the region, but nationally, as a true factory outlet for a high-end suit manufacturer, of which there are very few left in the United States. Tony Sapienza is here, the CEO of Joseph Abood, who is doing a phenomenal job. It is a U.S. manufacturer that is growing right now and is taking on new orders despite all the challenges that he faces. Tony Vieira here at the Bay runs a great shop. It is a real anchor for our growing downtown. And so I was just, I thought that the mayor, I suspected that the mayor would love to take a look at it all, and he has, and I'm glad he's walking away a satisfied customer. The other thing I'll say is his idea about connecting his neighborhood markets with our seafood industry, it makes a ton of sense. And we're the #1 fishing port in the United States. We're only 60 miles away from Boston. It makes a tremendous amount of sense for us to be connecting in a way that helps out both of our communities. And so this is something that we're going to run with in the next year, and hopefully we'll be up and there'll be New Bedford seafood being sold all throughout Boston, and that's something we'll work on. The mayor's comment about jobs is something that certainly resonates with me. As I've said before, growing jobs here in New Bedford is my #1 priority. And if you look at the mayor's tenure in Boston over the course of the last 19 years, his record speaks for itself. I mean, Boston has gone from, you know, a regional center to a global city, one that is cosmopolitan, that is growing, that is cutting edge, and it is so much of it is a tribute to his leadership. I want you to know that we're big fans down here, Mayor, for all you do. And the Mayor's been giving me some advice along the way. My background hasn't been in elected office. As the Mayor knows, I was a federal prosecutor for a long time in Boston. And so I'm happy to pick up the tricks of the trade. I've been taking mental notes all morning long, and I'll continue when we have lunch in a few minutes.
Well, you mentioned filings, and obviously one of the problems, or one of the challenges here is getting some development tenants into the downtown. I was wondering if you guys can talk a little bit about where you see that market headed in the next year.
Well, I think the market has picked up over the last year. The economy has picked up. And I think the mayor has explained to me some of the proposals he has out there, in additional hotels, restaurants in the area, some of the other, food industry growing. And I just say, you build on what you have, and how to enhance that. And I think that's the challenge we all face. And I think he's got some grants coming out of the state on some of his proposals on the waterfront, on the wharfs out there, and
Yep.
I think that is part of it. You're not gonna do this overnight, but you build it one day at a time. You wanna build a solid foundation. What's happened a lot of times is we rush into projects and there's no foundation. We've talked about that. We wanna make sure we have a solid foundation. Whatever we do has a lasting effect on New Bedford, on the economy of New Bedford, but also the job situation, how we get people to work. And the other part of this is how we make sure that make sure people are trained for these jobs.
Yeah.
Do you expect a new tenant in the filing space or in some of the other, the bank buildings around here?
Well, you can speak for Filene's, Mayor.
Well, Filene's, that was a bad deal going south. That was a New York company, what do you expect? Who put a deal together, didn't work. And now we have a designated Millennium Partners were there, they just went through the process. They'll break ground in November, and we'll have a major development on that site as we go forward. They're gonna start construction in November, with many different types of retail, office, research, and condominiums.
And was that just the market turning around, or like what enabled that to get off the ground?
Well, I think it's
That would be
assistance by
transferable to
time.
here? What from that experience would then be transferable?
Well, a lot of persistence by my administration's part with the former owner of the property. But I think the folks who, Millennium Partners, who are now in control of the site, saw the potential. The other company was on the stock exchange, and they were just stockpiling it and hoping for a better day. They have a record of doing that in other cities. And I eventually, I got a lot of impatience with them, and I've did several things with them on their development, pulling their permits and stuff like that, because, for 4 years, they kept a hole in the middle of downtown Boston.
Yep.
That wasn't right. These developers have to have respect for the people who are in the city and also the taxpayers.
Yeah, from my perspective, it really highlights a point about the mayor's role in development. Building a site like that, as you're getting at, Natalie, really matters not only in terms of job creation, but it affects all of downtown Boston, and it affects the residents and businesses, and so that it is properly the mayor's role to weigh in on those things. And one of the attributes of Mayor Menino's leadership has been over the years that he's just not going to let anyone set up shop in Boston. It has to be good for Boston, and he has been very effective, as I've observed over the years, in putting pressure on developers to make development good, not just for their own wallets, but for the citizens that he represents. And so that I strive to do the same thing here. And as we continue to grow, and there is real growth here, we look to fill in what's empty here in the downtown area, and then hopefully build up and also create some opportunities up and down the waterfront, especially.
Let me just say, mayors need to take control of the situation. We are where the buck stops.
Yep.
And we make decisions. We got elected to make decisions. And the voters in our cities depend on us to make the decisions that move the city forward. And, it's a difficult job. There's people out there who will be critical. But, we make the decision. Does it move forward? It doesn't move forward. With the advice of our different organizations within the city of Boston. And that's always the challenge we have, because, there's always someone that thinks they have a better idea. But, we as mayors have the full knowledge through the redevelopment authority or the development agencies they have there. They give us the information. That's how we make our decisions. It's not by the seat of our pants or back of an envelope. It's we go through with fact. We have, people depend on us. And we have to make sure those decisions work. And I'll honestly tell you that I was down here several years ago. I see huge improvements down there, and I'm really impressed with what's happening. And with the economy turning around, I mean, there's no telling where we're going to go.
Yeah.
And you like the suits.
I like the suits.
The suits.
I have several Joseph Abboud suits, but I came down here, I got a better bargain down here than I did any place else.
So the mayor has 400 plus ties. How many suits are you up to now?
Oh, I want to tell you, I gave 35 suits to a nonprofit this spring, away.
You're in my league.
Mayor, how many ties do you have?
Well, let's see. I'd say not nearly 400. It's more than 50, I'd say. More than 50. Plus at least one more today. We're adding today.
Well, we have to. That's our uniform. Ties are our uniform. We wear blue suits, gray suits, striped suits.
That's it.
Women have all different colors, dresses, suits, and all that stuff. We don't.
Hey, if we weren't wearing ties, we'd look almost exactly the same every day. Dark suit, light shirt, black shoes. It's the tie that changes. That's where that variation comes in. So yeah, and this is a good. Most of my ties were bought from this gentleman right here. From those racks. So you'll have to make a return visit.
I will.
Sneak down and grab some more sometime.
Mayor, let me say that there's not a lot of elected officials from other communities who come to New Bedford, and I mean, you're not thinking of running for anything else, are you?
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? I have the best job in America. I'm mayor of the capital city, and I've been doing it for 19 years. No way. My job as mayor is to make sure the capital city works, because if the capital city works, the rest of the state works. I mean, we have a profound effect on the economy of Massachusetts.
Yeah, no doubt.
And my job is to, we as capital city, we're 630,000 people. We have a lot of resources that I can help young mayor with. I mean, I'm not saying we're the smartest, but sometimes we can reach down and say, how are you dealing with this problem? That's my job.
Yeah.
It's not egos. It's not about egos. Mayors don't have egos. Mayors get the job done.
So it's interesting on that point. I've told Mayor Menino that we've plagiarized a lot of the stuff they've been doing. We'll continue to do so, and with our thanks, the neighborhood task force efforts that we've been that have been underway here. A lot of that was with the help of his neighborhood folks who really helped us. Take a look at. How to put a task force together, how to write new ordinances that can make the task force more effective, and we're continuing that effort. But that's just one example. The other thing, the mayor brings up a really interesting point to my mind, and we were talking earlier about Congress and how all the tension in Congress and their seeming inability to get anything real done. What's different about mayors is that we do get stuff done, and we have to. We don't have the luxury of just debating things endlessly. We actually have to act, and so much of what is getting done in America now isn't being done in Congress. It's not even getting done in state legislatures. It is getting done at the local level, especially in cities by mayors who know that their constituents, their residents, look to us for leadership.
And I just want to say, Mayor, you touched on thing. The Problem Properties Task Force. You had your lawyers up there working with us, and these abandoned properties, where police answer a lot of calls here. How do we close them down? How do we get them back? And how do we clear them up? And his lawyers have been up to our office several times, meeting with our folks. That's how we share ideas and share learning experiences.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
What do is, if you want to just talk about programming a little bit, I think what both of you would find interesting is how we kind of tie this into the community, because what's different about the two programs here is that this one's residential. The students who work in this building, and it's all studios up above for both faculty and students, it's both a graduate and undergraduate program. So the byproduct is they live downtown. So many of the apartments in the Bristol building and Lofton and the Coffin buildings, those are our students living downtown rather than on campus because they're in a different part of their career. Either they're juniors and seniors in artistry or they're graduate students. So they're the ones that also have created the influx of restaurants because they got to have somewhere to eat. They've got to go shopping. The coffee stores are here in part, but the galleries have followed them because when they produce the work, you've got to put it somewhere. So what we're doing for faculty in here, many of us are actually in 2 different shows that are running up and down William Street at Gallery X and at Judith Klein.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just keeps going. It kind of keeps circling. And the one change I think that's happened for our students in the last couple of years is as they graduate, they don't leave right away. They will stick around for a year or 2 and get started professionally before they make the jump, if they make the jump.
That's the key,
Yep,
to retain your graduates,
exactly.
because, they're here for a couple of years. But you retain them, helps your economy, helps your business community too.
Right,
They can backfill,
right, exactly. Oh,
Sure
yeah.
does. And it makes our downtown more hip and more inviting, more appealing, and it's
right.
good.
Yeah, and then for us, the completer part with BCC is that we have articulation agreements with BCC, Massasoit, as well as the 4 Cs. So students who get into some portion of visual and performing arts at those schools know that if they finish their associate degree, this is how they'll transfer to UMass Dartmouth, or if they come out after a year or a couple of semesters, this is how they'll transfer. So it's becoming better and better as an open transition. So
Thank you.
just a couple things, the latest
Yeah.
publication on the university, some of these things you're aware of, especially with that innovation triangle that both of our institutions are involved in.
Yeah.
This is a sample of the catalog put together to represent our graduate students who just came out. They were actually in your backyard, Mayor. We moved the show from here. We take up the entire downtown, downstairs, and then we took a version of the show and took it to Bromfield Gallery in Soho and
Oh, yeah?
installed it there for a month. And kind of gave the Boston scene a run for its money, and I got a lot of
yeah,
compliments.
yeah, break.
But of course, since we paid the rent, we got invited back, so we'll be back next year. And AHA is probably one of the interesting packages. We are Gateway City, but AHA is a program very similar to SOA Sundays, which is every second Thursday of the month every year. There's a thematic kind of reference, and then everything downtown is open and free to the public from 5 to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
What we do is we provide lectures, we'll do musical performances in here, and the public gets a chance, in many cases, to go into a college building for the first time. And we bring the families in because we're recruiting the kids to think about us down the road, whether it's us or BCC, we want to keep them in the game.
So these AHA nights have been very successful here. It brings a lot of people to the downtown area on Thursday nights, even in the dead of winter. I mean, it's
Yeah,
amazing how
it's
so many
really
people show
exciting.
up.
It really
They do
is.
great
In the summertime, it's
Gives
very
you further
busy.
information on the BCC portion and how we've grown in the last, we're in our 11th year. They've gone from 400 students to 2,000 students.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's been a great
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
That's very good.
And what's nice about both programs is that this is a repurposed department store. Where they're located now, the Cherry Building is also a repurposed department store. We don't tear them down, we just rethink them
Yeah.
and redo like we did
Reinvent
here.
them.
We do,
Reinvent
and
the
it's
interior.
great space
Yeah.
because they've got wonderful windows.
Spectacular. You
Yeah.
can't build this today
No, you can't
with the
really.
wide expansions,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
We need the steel girders
direct lighting,
upstairs.
too.
Yeah, to span the space.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
So
It
it's
really has.
78,000 square foot of creative energy in this building,
the best lighting for painters, for artists, the northern light.
always.
That's a true light.
Oh, is that right?
It
Yeah.
is, absolutely. It's the best.
Unless
Better
you're in
than-
Holland where you get 17 days of that a year.
Oh, we're not in Hall.
Well, we're not in Hall. We don't have to worry about that.
We're in New Bedford.
Well,
We're in
the
New
mayor
Bedford.
was
That's
really
true.
challenged by that.
I know. It's always an issue. We use grow lights like you use for plants, just so that we don't creep out too much.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks
This
much.
has been
absolutely.
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you for stopping
It's great to see you again. Yeah, yeah. That's
John,
right.
as always,
Hey,
thanks very
thanks a
much.
lot.
And I was
Appreciate it.
telling Karen, I like the fact you're wearing your blue and gold today.
Yeah,
This is,
I
we call
tried
this
to
Pride
add
Day.
a little
Every
bit of
Friday is Pride
BCC in
Day.
Yeah, see?
See? We're good.
I'll send you a tie.
The arts and the cultural community of our city is really It's about the young people. It's about the excitement they create. And we also find that the young people who are involved in the arts do much better than standardized tests in schools. And that's why the mayor and I are always advocating for more arts programs in our schools and in our nonprofits, because when kids are involved in that, they think differently, they become excited, and they become creative. And just here at the College of Visual and Performing Arts here at University of Mass Dartmouth, it's very important that we have these programs.
Yeah, and you know, Boston's obviously been a leader over the years in creating space for artists, and that has begotten more development. Look at the South End, for instance, and just what a spectacular experience that neighborhood has had over the last 20 years. And it started really with artists moving in. The ICA is fabulously successful now and is really an icon on the waterfront, even though it's still new. And so, you know, Boston, we have a lot to learn from Boston that way. And the mayor has been at this for 19 years now, and you know, as I said before, we're picking up every little tidbit we can so that we can capitalize on their success.
This obviously your city, I would argue, is probably your city's arguably the college capital of the world. How important is it, a downtown campus here in New Bedford, and how important are the colleges to a city? Colleges
are so important to our economy. They bring disposable income, they bring energy, but also a renewed workforce. The young people who graduate from these colleges feed our factories, our offices, our technology folks out here. I mean, that's why I think, you know, with the college and university we have around here, what we have in Boston, that's why our economy is so strong, because those young people, our job is to make sure they want to stay here. In Boston, we retain about 49% of our college graduates. And down here, the mayor's telling me he's able to retain many of his college graduates. That's important. But then with the healthcare piece, that's even more important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Boston's a great example of, and perhaps the best example in the United States of a city that has an ideas economy. I mean, and it's because of all the colleges, and it's because that, you know, the city has succeeded in integrating colleges, the life of colleges, into the life of the community. So people stick around, bring their great ideas from academia to the workforce, and grow jobs. And that's what we need to do in a knowledge economy. Boston has proven itself to be extremely successful, especially under the mayor's leadership.
You're not too far behind.
We're catching up. We'll catch up one of these days.
Thank you.
Want to watch your local access shows on demand? It's easy. Just go to www.nbcablenetwork.com. Place your cursor over either the Channel 17 or 18 tab and click on Program Schedule. Here, you'll find a calendar and a list of shows for that day. You can watch any show that says View next to it by clicking on the word View. It's just that simple. Now you can watch any of those shows at your convenience. You can also watch whatever is currently playing on the air by clicking Watch Live at the top of the page. And best of all, our shows can be viewed from anywhere in the world. New Bedford Cable Network, bringing you original programming and keeping you informed about local government, educational, and public endeavors.
I took a trip to Elkhart, Indiana today. Elkhart's a place that has lost jobs faster than anywhere else in America. In 1 year, the unemployment rate went from 4.7% to 15.3%. Companies that have sustained this community for years are shedding jobs at an alarming speed. And the people who've lost them have no idea what to do or who to turn to. They can't pay their bills, and they've stopped spending money. And because they've stopped spending money, more businesses have been forced to lay off more workers. In fact, local TV stations have started running public service announcements that tell people where to find food banks, even as the food banks don't have enough to meet the demand. As we speak, similar scenes are playing out in cities and towns across America.